So I'll share my slides in a minute here. What I wanted to go over, so my role now is the executive director of the InnerSource Commons. And also I'm a very long time member of the InnerSource community. So what I wanted to share is a little bit of perspective from both of these roles, both thinking about the InnerSource and the InnerSource Commons Foundation worldwide, and what is our role? What are we trying to accomplish together? Where are things going? And then I also want to reflect a little bit and share some of the history from the beginnings of InnerSource and the InnerSource Commons until now. I do have a few slides. It's way more than 3 slides. Let me share my screen here. Just a second. All right. And I'm gonna just use, these are some slides that Yuki made, so some of them you can see already. And oh, hold on a second. Okay, let me try to reshare. Here it is. Okay. All right, so I'll go through some of these fast. Some of them you've seen before. It's really just a chance to put my memory to some talking points. So we're here in 2025 talking about inner source. Some of these I went over at the New York event. I won't go through in detail. But yeah, a little history. So inner source, the concept, at least as a term, started in the US in the year 2000 with Tim O'Reilly. The O'Reilly from O'Reilly Media was attempting to start a business actually around inner source consulting at the time. From there, things went dormant for a while until here the year 2015, Denise Cooper, who was the founder of InnerSource Commons, decided that she wanted to make InnerSource a worldwide movement. And the purpose was, and I heard a question about this earlier, was to teach more people how to do open source and open source development. And in these early years, 2015 and 2016, the InnerSource Commons started, and there were a few summits. I joined the worldwide inner source movement in 2017 at a summit that was happening in Chicago in the US. And that was where I got the chance to meet Denise for the first time. And a little bit about what inner source meant to me. I was working at Nike, where Jeff is located now. I think Jeff wasn't at the company yet, but he and I got the chance to meet there. I knew I was working at Nike, and without knowing it, I was doing InnerSource. I had an InnerSource project. I didn't call it InnerSource at the time, but it was around running continuous deployment of Nike's websites. We had like every website at the company on the same deployment pipeline, and everyone was doing InnerSource contributions to it. So I was looking for I realized the problems I'm solving, they weren't unique to me. And having the mindset of collaboration and sharing, I wanted to go out and find others that were trying to solve these same problems in their company. I thought I can't be the only one having these issues. I want to work together. And so I found the InnerSource Commons, which was really in its infancy, and had the chance to meet Denise there in 2017. And the whole thing I wanted to do, which I'm still trying to do today, is to collaborate as much as possible around how to run inner source in our organizations. As Jeff shared earlier, I started the ISPO working group. I think that was around 2020 or so, with the idea that we shouldn't all go and try to figure out how to do inner source at our own organizations. There should be some type of open source tooling, training, documentation that we can all create, all submit to some common location, and then all reuse within our companies. And I got involved actually here 2020 in creating the InnerSource Learning Path. That's on the website. I was the project leader, gathered an open source group of people, and we co-created the learning path together that we could all use within our companies. And this really is still the vision I have. We all need inner source. As Jeff shared, I put that presentation. Not all of our companies is different. We need a common place where we can come together and work on inner source. So really the inner source commons to me was an open source location to do inner source. So we're open sourcing our inner source, some tooling, but mostly open source documentation. And I remember in the early days here in 2017, 2018, it felt like worldwide there was only a handful of organizations that were doing InnerSource by name, and we all knew each other. It was a tight-knit group. And I remember kind of around 2018, getting into 2019, all of a sudden we started seeing people have blogs. I remember the first time I saw a blog that was on InnerSource that was from someone I've never met before. I'd been working, I think, for 2 years and kind of aware of everyone that was talking about InnerSource. So seeing the way that started with a few US and European participants until now, just completely blows my mind. Let's see if we go forward here. I think Yuki talked about this, or not this one, the gatherings. I mean, I'd never seeing the way that things have come worldwide from where they started, where we had a close group in the US and Americas and everyone knew each other. It's amazing. All the Tokyo gatherings. There's a robust China InnerSource community. They're having a gathering next week, by the way, that are very highly attended uh, by the most influential organizations and companies in China. Yeah, seeing that InnerSource hero in that video that Michaela called out is simply amazing to me to think of the worldwide community that we have today. So let me just go forward from here. So that's recognized from kind of the late 2010s, whereas this close group, things have really exploded as far as awareness of InnerSource. Uh, Here I'm familiar with a lot of these US centric touch points for InnerSource. I think just the global community is a great example of the growth. Also, the Gartner publication put InnerSource on the hype cycle for software engineering. Actually, in 2023, it was among the top trends for software engineering that was released at their Gartner London conference. InnerSource was at the top of the list. It's showing up here on the Gartner hype cycle for software engineering. Here 2 years ago was the last time they released this publicly. We've confirmed from contacts at Gartner that InnerSource continues to show up on the 2024, 2025 hype cycle, going up the peak of inflated expectations as people are seeing um, the challenges and opportunities with integrating into organization. There's like a crossing of this peak, and now where we're at, I think, with InnerSource worldwide is needing to get as fast as we can up this slope of enlightenment and to the plateau of productivity around InnerSource. And my vision, what I'd like to see is the InnerSource Commons is occupying a leading spot and being the hub where companies and organizations can work through the challenges that they have with InnerSource and publish those results publicly to help other companies to get through these challenges faster. I think later on I have a slide about a few of those. Let me go forward and see what's next here. Um, Oh yeah. So the InnerSource Commons Foundation, I think this was shared before. A ton of companies and organizations, and now we've collected and shared stories about what's happening with InnerSource. The people, I think, is one of the strongest assets of the InnerSource Commons. Look at all these people that are just having a great time with InnerSource. They love InnerSource and they love being with each other. The InnerSource Commons has a concept of membership for community participants that are continually involved in moving InnerSource forward at a foundation level and across the world. And there's a wonderful tradition that just started on its own, where every time there's two members that are together, they take a picture and share it. So here's a few that I had access to from people in the Americas. This wasn't something we had to tell people to do, but people love being with each other so much that there's always a picture taken and shared. I think this watercolor from the Berlin Summit is an interesting aspect that captures how people feel about InnerSource and the InnerSource community. The fact that an attendee would decide to make a watercolor, I think expresses a depth of feeling and connection that's had in the InnerSource Commons throughout the world. As Guilherme said, the summit just in Berlin just gave a place where that could be reflected and expressed. So it's really an amazing community. some tangible wins here. InnerSource showed up at the United Nations open source event happening last summer. I've been in touch with the organizers. They're having an InnerSource focus to part of the UN open source event in the upcoming year as well. Uh, More local to me, the US government passed a bill basically requiring InnerSource to happen within federal government. It's the Share It Act uh, to mandate sharing between government organizations. So really, they're reaching for InnerSource. So it's amazing to see these worldwide strides that are being taken. And there's probably stories like this in other parts of the world that I'm not quite as close and connected to. So really the community and InnerSource is in a strong position and reaching to expand even further. What I want to see, let me go ahead a little bit here because I think I'm running out of time. Our leadership. Really what I want to see and what I think needs to happen for the benefits of InnerSource to reach across the world as soon as possible is for the InnerSource Commons to focus and maintain itself as the hub and central collaboration space for InnerSource knowledge. This works out as in the gatherings that Yuki talked about in the summit, in the publishing that we do, in the patterns and other books that Jeff talked about. I think that we need to have more written work and publishing because that can endure and become a part of AI knowledge on the internet. And we do this through building a strong, inclusive community. And in the InnerSource Commons, we work open source style to share knowledge about InnerSource. So let me go ahead because I'm getting started. So I think I'm running slower on time here. So we talked about how one way we do this is through working groups in the InnerSource Commons. There's some working groups that are active today. Jeff talked about the ISPO working group. A working group is a set of folks in the InnerSource Commons community that want to get together to tackle a common challenge or a common need, and hopefully to produce something that can be shared within the InnerSource Commons. The working groups have a dedicated Slack channel and a regular meeting series to meet, share knowledge, and work on publishing information about a specific topic. The working groups that are there is flexible. These are some working groups that are here today, but anyone who has an idea for a working group, please reach out to me. We'll see if there's a way, if your topic is not covered by an existing working group, to start a new one and collaborate with others in the industry around particular challenge or aspect of InnerSource. A few a few ideas. These I took from the Berlin Summit, where a working group or other publishing or collaboration is needed. Topic of transfer pricing, I've heard for several years. We still don't have anything published in the InnerSource Commons about this. I think these and the other topics are AI, also, of course, is the top of the list, is a good opportunity for the community to come together in future gatherings, summits, and working groups to publish and share more information. We have to do it in order to continue to be the central hub and the central collaboration space for InnerSource knowledge in the industry. Let me see what else I have here. Yeah, a few other ideas. I think this is from the Berlin area as well that show topics that can be worked on in the InnerSource Commons. Let's see, we talked about the United Nations and Share It Act. A little bit about InnerSource and AI. This is where I think we have opportunity and really we need to, as a community, to come together and lead in defining what does InnerSource mean and why is it relevant in the age of AI. I'll give my opinion, which I also shared at the summit, is that in the AI era, InnerSource is more relevant than ever. I've heard some people say like, well, maybe InnerSource isn't needed because generating code is easy and cheap. So it doesn't matter if there's duplicated work. But we're finding that's not true. First of all, AI is the ultimate InnerSource consumer, and everything that needs to be done to enable project discovery and contribution for a human is also needed for AI. Clear documentation, clear README. Also, AI can code generation can do quick prototypes, but needs so much guidance. It's far easier for company to encapsulate its best practices in InnerSource projects that are then shared and AI leverages instead of AI having to write everything in Scratch. And also, AI and code generation will lower the technical barrier to create new code, and increasingly, the difficult part of software development is team to team and person to person collaboration, which is a big part of what InnerSource is meant to solve, to break down those engineering silos. In the past, because code took longer to create, maybe it was okay or not as never, it's never okay, but not as damaging to have the collaboration between teams go slower. But as code generation becomes cheaper, the percentage impact of team to team and person to person bottlenecks will become a greater inhibitor to effective software development. So we can't afford to have our team to team silos continue. They will quickly become the limiting factor in company effectiveness, and all the inner source practices that break those down are more needed than ever. All right, I think I've got about 15 minutes here, so I want to stop. I know we're on the time. I see some things have shown up in the chat. I haven't looked at them yet, but I guess just in closing, I'll say the reason I'm here and the reason I actually just went and looked before this meeting at my application for executive director of the InnerSource Commons. And what I wrote there, I'll share with you about what InnerSource means to me. When I think about the world today and the problems that exist worldwide, I know there's so much in software that could help problems that are in the world and individuals that are in the world. And I believe there's more to do than as a worldwide and companies collective that we're able to do. And so InnerSource to me is a gift to give to the world to make everyone in it as effective as possible at helping each other with the software they're making. At the same time, like Guillermo, my background is in software development, and I know the ennobling power that comes from the ability and autonomy to work in an inner source manner. It's a gift that I've received, and I would be happy if I could spend the rest of my life working to give that to the world and all the engineers in it. It will always be, I guess, my tribe is the engineering and development population, and I know InnerSource is a gift to them. So I'd be happy if I could find the way to work on that for the rest of my life. And I know I have a home for that, and I'm glad to be here in the InnerSource Commons. All right, I'll stop.